having a great day. Bismillah, salatu salam ala Rasulillah. Once upon a time, the end. That's it, that's my speech. Move on to the questions. I'm just kidding. Hope everyone is having a great day. Today I have a very interesting and intriguing subject. I want all of you guys to focus sometimes when I tell you guys to focus. Focus. So, it's very important in our lives that we identify the sole reason of taking an action. So, we want to do things in life. We want to learn, we want to adapt, we want to make the changes that lead to our development. But in order for us to do that, we're going to have to do a lot of things. So, how do you summarize, or how do you, in short, do these things in the best way possible? Well, first of all, how many of you here have the goal of becoming a teacher? Alright, how many of you here have the goal of becoming an engineer? How many of you here are interested in IT? In technology, basically. So, a lot of you have different goals and you want to go towards different specializations. Here's the thing, most people in our lives don't know where they're going. So, imagine this, you're in the middle of a circle, you have a pathway this way and a pathway that way and a pathway this way and one behind you. Which one would you take? If you want to take the right, point with your right arm, the left, just give an idea. Which one would you guys think? Most of you would go forward. But how about this? If forward was teaching, left was being an athlete, right was being a public speaker. You'd think I'd go that way, but I wouldn't. Behind you is being an entrepreneur. Which one would you guys want to take? Most of you would choose the one you prefer. But here's the thing. Many people in this life don't know where they're going. They're just walking. You ever been in a forest and been lost? That's how it feels like to most people in this life. They're walking, continuously wasting their time and energy and putting so much effort into no result. Literally, there's nothing. And most people post YouTube videos just for exposure. I used to do that. Imagine a chef coming here and telling you, opening up a bag and telling you, let me get your exposure, let's cut it down, blend it, and turn it into an exposure soup. Some nice air, right? So the best thing about this is that you need to know where you're headed in life. You need to know the direction, you need to know the needs, the tools, and most importantly, you need to know how to succeed at said specialization. Now, let me tell you a story. There was once a kid called, let's call him Jerry. My favorite cartoon was Tom and Jerry growing up because of the violence. I'm just kidding. So, this kid was called Jerry and they asked him, what do you want to be in the future? He said, what can I be? Instead of I want to be this, and fixating his mind and putting borders to his limitless life. The sky's the limit is what they say. I say the space is the limit. But the thing is, when he asks, where can I be? And where can I be? What can I do? They told him there are many specializations in life. Which one would you like to be? What's a specialization? You see, what Jerry, or what Timmy is doing here, is he is trying to get to the deep end and to the sole purpose and to the why of his life. You need to understand that in this life you need to be so specialized in a certain specialization that you need to be good at it. Because always strive to be the number one in what you want to do in life. Not number 2, 3, 4. Want to be number one and help your peers grow so they can give you a challenge. So you can be all in one together. Like Martin Luther King said, we must all learn to live like brothers or we'll all perish like brothers. Basically, you have 4 sets of skills in this life. They're not English skills. The 4 sets of skills are the thinking, the applying, the conquering and the planning. Now here's the thing, many people just do this, and I used to do this every single day of my life. I plan, I'd say, it hits me whenever, I don't know why, but whenever it's nighttime and it's peaceful and everyone is asleep, I just decide to pull an all-nighter and just study. I don't know why, it just comes to me. But I decided, you know what, tomorrow I'm going to do this and 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 this. I planned like a whole fiesta of things, like a full buffet of things I'm going to do tomorrow. And then the next day I wake up and I'm like, I'm going to go drink some breakfast. I literally said that. Drink some breakfast, as if that makes sense. And then I decided to go watch some TV, from watching TV to, doing all the prayers, reading a little bit of my book, and then at the end of the day when it hits like 8 p.m. and it's my bedtime, and I'm like, I didn't do anything. Oh my God, what happened? What do you mean what happened? You spent most of the day yesterday planning to not do anything today. So what went wrong? In fact, nothing went wrong. The wrongness, well not wrongness, but the difficulty in trying to apply what you said is very hard. Because people try to measure an infinite life. Now I'm not saying our life is infinite, but it is finite to an unknown extent. Because you don't know when it will stop, or you don't know when it can stop. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 seconds, 400 milliseconds. So people try to put a measure on things, and I just don't like it. It's like trying to put a whole worth of ideas and a whole worth of trying to put your whole entire life in a book. It will never cover as much detail as a documentary. Thank God we've developed. And the whole entire section of just finding a specific thing to do, just trying to plan, is hard enough. So you might be wondering, well, what's the solution? What's this all leading up to? The thing is, there is no solution. It's just the way you're doing it is in a bad manner. Usually when we plan, we say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I will do this and then that and then that. The thing is, when are you going to do that? And I realized that because I used to say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And I told my dad, you're going to hold me for this. If I don't do any of this, I will be grounded for a week or something. And then I eventually don't do anything and I get grounded for a week. Way to go. And it's just, I actually stopped one day and my dad told me, like, what are you doing? And I told him, I'm preparing for the things that I'm going to do tomorrow. And he's like, okay, so you're going to read a book? When are you going to read a book? And I'm like, oh no, whenever I have the time. And he's like, no. This is how school systems work. You don't give the teacher enough time, you press them for time so they can give enough information at that specific time. But the thing is, if you don't specifically put a timer on anything in life, that thing could either happen for infinity or not happen at all. There's this thing called the Pomodoro Technique. Has everyone heard of it? Has anyone heard of the Pomodoro Technique? Okay. So basically, a few of you have heard of it, and basically it's where you set a goal, you set a 25-minute timer, and then once you finish, you work on the goal as hard as you possibly can until the 25 minutes stops. It's like workers in what do you call those set? Oh yeah, an acting set. So they're working, when the chef just says take 5, they immediately drop what they're doing and go take a 5-minute break. That's what I do. And ever since I started doing the Pomodoro Technique, I see an increase, 1% every day. You may think that's just so little, 1% of development in a whole entire day of 24 hours. Let it be known that I take about 8 hours of sleep. So 4 and 4, that's 14 hours left. And of course I take about an hour, 2 hours to eat. Of course, another hour or 2 to rest. So that leaves me with approximately about 10 hours a day. And 10 hours a day is not enough for anyone to do anything. So I'm trying to modify my sleep schedule so I can do a lot more things. But the thing is, once you put a specific time timer on something. If you limit the limitless, you're going to achieve the limited. So that's what I'm trying to do. You need to understand that when you limit the time you have to achieve a specific goal, you're going to want to do it faster. And who knows Robert T. Kiyosaki? Who knows Robert T. Kiyosaki? So he's the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So what he says is that if you want something to be done quickly, hire a lazy person to do it. And boy, am I lazy. There's a lot of things that you need to understand and comprehend, because you guys need to basically take what you need. You guys need to be water filterers. You know the water filterers that we use to get water from the sea? They filter out the sand and everything else and just leave the goods. You guys need to act like that. How many of you here are bored and tired of just listening? Be honest. Who here is a little bored and tired of just listening to people and not understanding what's happening? Now, of course, these are great speakers. You should not be bored. Maybe about me, yeah, I'm sometimes boring. And I even compliment people for not being boring, so if you guys just don't feel like you're in the right place, maybe try to change the perspective. Like, have you asked yourselves, why are you here? Like, why are you guys here? What are you guys here to do? What are you here for?
To listen to you.
Yeah, I understand some people are going to say that, but why are you really here? Besides the speakers, they have a specific role and job, and the guests, and the organizers. But why are you guys here? To? Okay, so to motivate yourselves. See, you have to show that you are a part of the place you are in. If you don't have at least 0.0001% of being a part of the place you're in, just leave immediately. Because if you do not have a specific role in this place, you do not have a place here. Now, I don't want people to start storming out. No, just stay here and listen more, because there are a lot of people that are going to say, evacuation immediately. But there are a lot of things that you need to comprehend. And one thing is, you need to know how to use special assets in life. So we've spoken about setting a specific location, setting a specific specialization for you to be in. The next thing is you need to identify what you're doing in this place. And the third thing is that you need to know how to manage your time. That's the most important thing. In Quran, in Hadith, even great scientists and specialists in many fields say that time is like a golden knife. If you don't cut it, it cuts you. And the last thing I want to say to you guys is always stay motivated, always have the passion to learn. Although learning systems, no offense to the university, in the current time provide a somewhat enclosed way of learning and adapting, but that's sort of the best way to learn. Because if they put you in a bubble, which is not what they're doing, most schools do this, thank God other schools don't, but most of the time people wrap themselves in a bubble and put in little holes, and that's where the pieces of information come in. But if they didn't enclose themselves to the bubble, they would get information, but sometimes it's unnecessary information. So what's the best way to do it? Is to learn what you need to learn. How do I know what I need to learn? It's to specialize. Okay, so how do I do it then? Manage your time. The fifth and most important skill you ever learn from anyone is to know how to put relationships with every piece of information in the world. Because the power of information is unbearable. Like, just to take it for an instance, imagine if Bahmed hadn't thought of, you know what a thought is? Who knows what an idea is? An idea is a word. And what's a word? Is a certain, just some letters. هي فكرة هي كلمة، والكلمة مجموعة من الحروف تأتينا في ترتيب ما يعطينا معنى. Imagine if he hadn't thought idea of how do I be a fluent speaker? I need to get people to talk about that. Well, there goes the logo. It's Fluency Talks. Fluency Talks. So if you haven't thought about it, relationships between ideas is happening immediately in your brain, like in the subconsciousness. Your subconsciousness is putting a relationship to every idea and every piece of information that you'll ever get. And it even has people with past trauma, people with mental disorders, and more. Thank you so much. I enjoyed speaking. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time.